What's up, guys? Welcome to our channel. Today's topic of conversation is going to be of why we decided not to have kids. I guess as a gay couple, why we decided not to have kids. And we're going to have dinner as we're talking about that as well, because we're gonna eat with you guys. So if you want to, if you need to, pause this video, grab your snacks, grab your dinner, and then eat with us. We got some Whataburger, which is one of our favorites.
Right now, it's like a seasonal thing or whatever you want to call it. They have the Buffalo Ranch sandwich, which is really good. It's some chicken tenders with Buffalo Ranch, with ranch, buffalo sauce, and some sort of cheese. I don't know, mozzarella cheese? No. Swiss? I don't know. Some sort of
it's a
cheese.
pepper jack.
Pepper jack cheese.
Yeah.
It's really good, and it's on. I don't know if this one's on Texas toast bread or just regular buns, but nonetheless.
I think it's on Texas toast bread.
And oh my god, I smell your salad. And I also got we both got a Bob. It's a burger on a bun. It's a sausage patty with bacon, cheese. I asked for no egg, and then I put the little picante sauce on top, and it's really good.
And that's why I got a salad, because I wanted to get a breakfast Bob. And yeah, it's after 11, so that's when Whataburger starts serving breakfast, and I wanted breakfast, but I didn't want to get a burger. I didn't want to feel sick afterwards.
So I asked for picante sauce for the sausage Bob sandwich, regular ketchup, and say what you want. I know everybody's all In and Out and Whataburger competition. We've been to Vegas. We've had In and Out burgers. The concept is cute, but it was not giving to me, guys. Sorry. Whataburger's better.
Topic of the day is, again, why we decided not to have kids. So originally, we did want to have kids.
That's one of the things. Sorry, I'll be talking with my mouth full. In and Out. I'll try not to. That was one of the things I think that we had like on our checklist when we first started dating, like that we both wanted kids, family, blah blah blah. So it was kind of like we were just waiting for the right time after we got married or whenever.
Something. Yeah.
At one point or another.
So we looked into different options. We looked into adoption. We looked into surrogacy. And then we came across, like not too long after we got married, about a year, technically 2 years after we got married, we went and looked into the foster system here in Texas. And then we went through this company. We originally were going to go through a local company. They were closing down, so they referred us to a different company that's like closer to like San Antonio. And we went through the whole process. Everything. We went through the certifications, and we went through the home visits. We went through everything, and we eventually had a match with a little boy who was, I think he was 6 years old. When they matched us, it was a foster to adopt type of thing, I guess, or the specific for him was foster to adopt, which is what we were looking for. Originally what we were looking for was like a baby, because we didn't have, I guess, knowledge of or the experience for somebody older than a baby, especially if they're in the foster system, foster care.
We have this like stigma, stereotype of they're always in and out, or they never leave the system until they age out, or whatever the case may be. So we kind of had that mentality, and we were trying to break away from it, rather than just set on having a baby. And they had already told us it's really difficult to try to get an infant, a newborn. It's very rare, and there's more detail into that, specifics. But we were like, okay, well, maybe we can look into somebody a little bit older. And so finally we kind of matched up with somebody. And we were very hesitant because, like Eric Matt said, I think we had the mentality that we wanted somebody younger than 6 years old. But then when we started to get to know him, because we started doing what were they called, like Zoom calls with him and his foster mom at that time, And we really started bonding with him right away. You know, he was really quirky and sweet and all this stuff. So I think he kind of won us over right away. And we talked to him maybe like about 3 times.
About 3 or 4 times.
3 or 4 times.
So then, finally, it was time for him to come home. It was difficult right off the bat. He got home, and I want to say they didn't really tell us the full file on him, meaning there's categories as far as specialties for kids, and his was like he needed the help. Like there's like, I guess, beginners for us, and then there's like
level
the
1,
medium,
2, and 3.
and then he was like on the 3rd level, like, which was, I want to say, like the category itself is like specialized, and they didn't have him in that category. And I'm thinking now, as I look back, I'm thinking it's maybe because they wanted to place him somewhere, and I don't think it was fair to him to just kind of want to place him anywhere or just anywhere.
Primarily, yeah.
And for the family
for
that he
us,
was
or
trying
for
to.
anybody who else was going to get him. Once we got his full file, which took a while to get, we read through the whole binder, and it was a lot of information.
Yeah. So the first day, when the social worker dropped him off, or the is it social worker? Caseworker, whatever she is, she dropped him off. No joke. I guess they came straight from the airport to the house. He was peed. He smelled. He had a really strong scent. And it's like, girl, you're not gonna change him. Like, and not even for us. I don't even care. But like, him to feel comfortable, like you know that he has like these problems, and you're not gonna change. Like, you know that he has accidents, and he's not gonna say it. You're just gonna leave him like that. And she did. She left him like this. She dropped him off, and she left. And I feel like that was very, like, what the heck? Like, you're literally just dropping them off with quote-unquote strangers, and you're not going to bother to try to make him feel comfortable because he's already like soiled. So that day we bought him new clothes. We threw away that clothes.
We already have clothes, man.
Yeah, we got him clothes. We knew his sizes, so we had a closet full of clothes for him. But we bought him clothes that specific day. We got him a haircut, and he bathed before we left and everything. He put something on here and whatever. But
we even had like a sign that our nieces help paint, and
everything.
We decorated the
room. It was like welcome home and his name and everything.
We were nesting the house for quite a while.
Yeah.
And some family had given us clothes and new toys and everything. You know, everything was like ready, set, go.
His room was set,
yeah.
And we were super excited and happy. And then things started happening like right off the bat, like not even days. And at first you're thinking, oh my God, what's going on? But then you start to think, he still needs to get adjusted. So, you know, we kind of need to play it by ear and just kind of give him time, and which we did. But then we wrote him in school. I, at the time, was doing self-employed. Pete was still working as an 8 to 5 job. So I was working. I was the one kind of going like to school and picking him up and stuff. So they would call us a lot, like as far as like he was always in trouble, he was always fighting, he was
accidents,
and so many accidents as far as like soiling his pants and all of that. And I would take him to therapy, I think 3 times a week, and then I tried to look for different therapists and different ways of, you know, helping him. And that's when I realized, okay, he's not at the level that they told us. He's at the level, way different level that he needs to be, or that we're not trained for. And I feel like I don't want to say they lied to us, but I feel like they kept that information from us. And I don't think it was fair for him, and it wasn't fair for us. It got to the point where we were contacting our foster company or foster agency, trying to look for help, trying to seek for help. And all they would really tell us is, well, try to do this, and have you tried doing this? And it's like, we've been doing everything. There were no help at all. So they weren't very helpful. So it got very, very, very difficult. Very, very quick, I mean. And it sucks because it got to the point where it's like, okay, he just needed to be removed from us because we weren't trained for his type of care.
Yeah.
And I really wish that it was different, because had we known from the beginning where he was at, we would have liked to have prepared more to give him more options as far as being with us, because we still talk about him. It's been 5 years. It's been 5 years and we still talk about him, and we are always hoping that he's doing well. We're always, what if he would have been here? What if this? Like, for the longest time, we were so depressed for a great amount of time. I feel like to the point where it even affected our marriage at some point, and it was very difficult on us. And for that reason, we decided we couldn't do it. As far as the foster system, as far as that, we couldn't get into that anymore. I've always wanted to try to see and contact him and everything, and but obviously we can't because we don't know where he's at.
Yeah.
He was such a sweet little boy, but things were so difficult.
He had gone through so much with his own biological parents. You can imagine the worst, and that's probably more than likely what happened to him, if not even worse things, which we will go into detail. But then after that, being separated, and I think no exaggeration, we might have been the 8th, 10th foster family, without exaggerating, somewhere between 8 to 10 foster families by the time he reached us. And it was kind of very repetitive. The behaviors that they put in their reports were exactly what was going on. And I'm sure a lot of people will probably see this video and think, well, kids are kids, they're gonna have tantrums, they're gonna have this, yes, we understand that. We were prepared for that. We were totally prepared for outbursts and tantrums and everything you want to say. But once a child has been through so much trauma, mentally and physically, and abuse, I do feel like given more time and given more freedom, liberty to take make certain choices and changes for his health, might have help him. But we weren't allowed to make those decisions. We weren't allowed to. We had to give him his medication. We had to take him to therapy. He was under the government, so there was a lot of red tape where we couldn't cross, and it made it difficult for us and for him, obviously, because he just wasn't used to it. And I feel like when he had his really good moments, like Eric was mentioning, they were great. Like, we could have conversation with him, we could do this, like everything normal, but then it would just be like a light switch, and he would just
shut off,
shut us off, and just go into this whole other personality. And it was unfortunate because we tried really, really hard, but it got to the point where every single day it was arguments between us, constant trying to discipline him, everything the therapist would tell us to do, and this and that, and it just was not working. Which, if anything, I think it made it worse.
It made it worse, yeah.
And then we didn't want to give in, obviously, because we're trying to be parents, and he's a child, he needs to learn rules and this and that. But I got to a point where I just, just let him do whatever he wants. Like, I can't deal with this anymore. And it was driving a big wedge between both of us, because, we would argue in the bedroom or in the car by ourselves or whatever. And it was getting to a point where, it was just not, it wasn't good for us, and it wasn't good for him.
It wasn't good for him. I feel overall, we all got screwed in this scenario. Him more than anybody. But I feel like if his social worker, his caseworker, whatever, would have been honest about his special needs, whether our agency knew or not, if anybody would have been honest with us and been able to help us and work with that, things would have been so much better, because we were not prepared at all. We went from obviously no kids to something completely, like a whole full 180. it was so hard for us, and it was just so
draining,
emotionally draining, and physically and everything. And it was like, how are we gonna take care of him when we can't even take care of ourselves at this point because of the special care that he needs? And it was hard for us. So then after we kind of set it aside for a while, and he was gone. He left, and we did set it aside, and then we thought about maybe doing adoption directly with like an agency, but oh my god, it's so expensive. Excuse me. And then we thought about surrogacy, but
some people have offered.
They have, but it's difficult. Mostly, I want to say, for Pete.
Yeah, I worry a lot.
Yeah.
I overthink things, and I worry about what if at the last minute she decides, I'm keeping the baby, and we've read into it that, pretty much that can happen, and it's her choice, and she can keep the baby, and that's something that's like, I would be devastated about it after going through so many months of getting to know the person and anticipating your child to come through, and it just doesn't happen.
A couple of months ago we thought, hey, maybe we can try it again and try and see if we can adopt somebody, maybe in Mexico. But I don't know, I'm really scared about that. We were like at the point where, like, you know what, we have a friend, and we're very grateful to her because she gave us all this information that we didn't know, where you can actually adopt from Mexico, and go to the agencies, or surrogacy,
Like the proper
different
steps.
Yeah, different options, proper steps, and what steps to take legally, obviously. And then we sat down and really thought about it, and said, I'm almost 40, and just kind of, I feel like we can do this, or we can just focus on ourselves and travel and do all these things, and we have the venue, and just kind of different options rather than adopting, rather than having kids. And we both decided it was maybe best for us, at least for now, to take that route. I still kind of, when I see like baby clothes or something, it always happens to me where it's like I get emotional, or I get like that little tingling feeling, because you always wonder, like, what if. But I don't know, I'm fully happy not having kids. I don't know if Pete is, but I would be happy if we had kids. I think having a little rogue rat running around would be amazing for us, and I don't know, maybe the option's still out there for us, and we're level-headed in as far as, in the sense that, we don't party, we're not partiers at all. We have great jobs, we have amazing families that are 150% supportive of anything that we do, and I love that. So I know that the support system is there for us, friends and family, not just family, but friends too. So if we were to ever decide to just do it again, then maybe we will. And I don't know, maybe one of our next videos will be like, hey, we decided we will have kids. But what do you think? How do you feel now that we're here? How do you feel about us truly not having kids?
I'm fine with it. But yeah, like Eric mentioned, we did have that long talk afterwards, because the day he left, I was very, very depressed. It affected me more than I thought it would. I knew I was going to be sad about it, but when it happened, it just made me very, very sad, very depressed. Eric was trying really hard to just get my mind off of it, but I couldn't, because I just feel like so much regret. I felt, like we didn't try hard enough. I felt like we were giving up on him. I feel like we abandoned him. Kind of just putting a lot of blame. laying a lot of blame on myself, on us for not trying hard enough. And, you know, I did like tell Eric right away that same afternoon, I believe, or the next day, like, you know, let's call them back. Let's just say, you know, let's give it another try. Let's go ahead and maybe just do some intense group therapy with him, or, you know, whatever we need to do to give him more help. Like, I was down for it, but at the same time, I wasn't sure if going through that again and for it to continue and maybe there was never going to be a breakthrough. I was also worried at one point, I mean, what if we try again, we go through it, you know, a couple more months and there's never a breakthrough, there's never like, you know, a glimpse of hope. And what's going to happen? Like, we're just going to continue with his behavior, which isn't good for him, first of all, like primarily him. And then, like, where would we wind up mentally, and would we wind up like driving apart because it was, you know, too much for us to stress? Because I feel like we both meet up, we both see a lot of things when it comes to parental things, the same way. But then, you know, there are points when one of us is more dominant and one of us is more lenient, and, you know, just kind of handling. We've never been parents, obviously, so, you know, it was a learning experience. We've had babysat our nieces, our nephews, and throughout the years, and that's totally different than actually being responsible for somebody 24/7. And it's not that we didn't want to have him, it was just I don't think it was the right time, and we weren't prepared for it. But yeah,
it was unfortunate that we weren't prepared for it, because I feel that till this day I feel so much regret of him not being here. I think I'm always going to feel it, especially because we always bring him up. And,
well, not as much as we used to before at the beginning.
But everything would remind us of him. Like, even now, something comes up and it's like, oh, you know, we'll say his name, like, ¿a quién hubiera el, you know, so and so.
Yeah, but I guess going back to the question, there's a big part of me that would love to have children, and, you know, boy or girl or multiples or whatever. And I think we're still younger. I mean, we have a lot of friends and people we know that are our age and have like trillion kids, or they're barely getting their children started off with, you know, babies and all that. Which, so it's not. I don't think there's a set time when you need to have children. But like Eric mentioned, there is a part of me that also kind of is happy and content with just it being us, because we do work a lot. We do like to travel a lot, you know, we like to do other things, and I don't know if a child would necessarily fit in there. Not that it would be a problem, because we always adjust accordingly to whatever's happening at that time. So, you know, it wouldn't be a burden to just readjust some things. So, I don't know, that's always gonna like be in the back of my head, what if? And for some reason, always happens, and everybody always mentions it, kids are drawn to me like crazy, whether it's at work, at the events,
everywhere,
or in public. We just go somewhere, but the kids just always gravitate towards me, and sometimes I don't mind it, but something like, oh my god, like, get away because I'm working, or, you know, you're like, I can't just say smile and say hi to them, because then there you go, that's all they needed, and they just continue, which is fun. But sometimes it's like, oh, I'm working, like, go away.
Whenever we meet up with a client, or especially if it's a new client, and they have kids for some reason, and he's not even around most of the time, because I'll talk to them and Pete will be like, I'm sorry, he's cleaning up the venue, or like setting up the venue, which is normally when we meet them. Like, so he's like running around, and the kids, for some reason, they'll see him way across the other side of the venue, and there they go, like, he's like their uncles, they've known him forever.
They go off, and I'm like, oh, here they come.
I don't want to fully put it in the back burner as far as not having kids, but right now, it's not there, I guess. It's. I wish it was. I always do. We always look at, like, we see like little clothings and, oh my god, this is super cute or something, but.
Or we think like, oh, you know, if so-and-so was here, they would probably be in some sort of sport or some sort of school activities. As it is, we go to our nieces' things pretty often.
Every single game.
Or function, whatever it is, we're there 99% of the time. We choose to be, not because we feel obligated to. But then we think like if we had our own child, like more than likely we'd have them in any activity they wanted to be in. We'd be supporting them, whether it's academically or arts or sports or what have you. We'd be that parent, like don't screw with our kids, like, or you know what, we're here for the whole team. Like just be those parents that you want your other children's, what you want your children to be around.
And then right now it's becoming more and more common for couples, gay or straight, to not want kids. So, we have a few friends that are married and they've decided that they don't want kids, and then I feel like, hey, like that's okay with us too. I mean, if we don't have kids, it just kind of makes it easier for us, and as far as like a mental state, to think, hey, we don't need to have kids, or unless it at some point the situation arises. Yeah, but yeah, it's great to see other couples or other friends that like I said, married, gay or straight, that are married, and they just say, hey, we're not gonna have kids.
And I know it's kind of like don't label it, but it's great, especially when it comes to heterosexual couples that's like their decision. They're not having kids for whatever reason. They just don't flat out want them. Personal reasons, because of the world we live in, etc., etc. But I feel like it's funny when people say, and I go back to really quickly to Sex and the City 2, where Carrie and Mr. Big tell the couple next to them, "Oh, we're not having children. Like, so it's just gonna be you two for the rest of your lives to get alone." Like, yeah. Oh, and then she kind of makes this very judgy faces and turns around like, okay, dismisses them like whatever. And I feel like that's so rude. And then we've seen that happen to people in real life, and it's like who is it to you? First of all, it's not your relationship. Second of all, and if they did have children or don't have children, like it's their problem. Like you're not there to support them. You're not going to be there financially to help them out. And a really bad thing to say, but yeah, the world we live in, sometimes it's like the way things are going, it sucks. And I will be honest, I do think like, do you want to bring another child into this kind of world that we live in? And I know there might be some comments there, and that's fine, but that's my personal opinion. That's how I feel at times. But I also say, like, if you do want to have children, go. Great, like, awesome, go for it.
But if you don't want to have children, don't get pressured into somebody. Don't feel pressured into having them just because you're family members. Usually it's the moms or the dads.
And it's usually like, unfortunately in our culture here, the Hispanics like want you, they still like, well, at least in our area, there's still like the older generation that thinks you need to be married by 21, have kids, be at home, like attend to your husband, hand and foot, and for what? Like not have a life.
Or if you just got married, they're already wanting you to have kids like right away.
It's so ridiculous.
We have goals, you have plans, we have all of this. Take care of that first, and then when you're ready, you have your kids.
Exactly.
When you have a career that you want to finish first, I feel like do that. And I think it's more power to anybody, whether you want to have kids or you don't. Like if you want to wait or you don't. It's totally up to you. Nobody can actually tell you what to do with your own life.
And there's so many more options than just having your kids. Like there's surrogacy, there's adoption. There's so many kids that are just abandoned or whatever. People are popping them left and right, and here you have we have friends, really close friends, that tried really hard having children that they can't. They want to so bad, and they go through every possibility, and then sometimes they do, and that's awesome. They've had their biological children, and sometimes it's not possible, and there's other routes. So there's always adoption, if that's something that you want to consider, or surrogacy. Like there's just a variety of things, but I think what we're trying to say overall is like whether you want to have children or you don't, it's like your own personal choice, and just if you're ready for it, you're ready for it, and if you never want to, then that's okay too.
And with that said, today's topic was a little downer.
I even stopped eating because I got all sad.
I tried to not stop eating because I tend to get emotional when I talk, and I was eating to trying not to get emotional.
And I stopped eating because I knew I was already going to cry.
But we're very emotional people, which I love. But yeah, it's a great journey that we're having, that we're on together, and whether it happens later or not, you know, it's anything.
We'll keep you updated.
And we will keep you updated. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And you know what? Let us know in the comments below what you guys think of people not wanting to have kids, or people having kids at any age. Do you want to have kids? Do you
You've
have
adopted, foster children.
If you've had
surrogacy
experience, you know, during foster care or during the foster care, foster adoptions, I think that would be great information for us, because we've never actually spoken to anybody else who has gone through the same processes we have.
Well, with a quick little, but there we do have one couple that we know personally, that we met at that meet and greet, and eventually they got matched up with a really lovely child, and we have them on Facebook, and they're really, really kind
huge
people.
Shout out to both of you guys.
Yes,
and
you know who you are if you're watching this video. We see their posts all the time, and it makes us really, really happy. And we always say, "Oh my God, like it worked out so well for them."
But this is actually the first time we've actually talked about this, period. Mm-hmm. We've never talked about this experience with our family members. We've never talked about it with our friends.
Here and there.
But they don't know the full story, 100%. I guess. Or how we felt throughout it. Because when it comes to stuff like this, Pete and I are very secluded when it comes to our personal things.
I always try to just smile with everything.
Yeah. And I don't really agree with that, but as far as like our personal stuff, we just kind of tend to share it with it amongst ourselves. So this is us sharing our story with you guys. And with that, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the little bell to get a notification every time we upload a new video.
And don't forget to follow us on the other socials.
Yes, which will be down here.
A little plug.
We'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.